Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ATL Falcons UK podcast. This week, I am joined by Liam, and shortly, Mark will be coming on, no doubt, with a very bold entrance at some point soon. He's just preoccupied at the moment. So, this week, of course, we're going to run through the Falcons' loss against Washington and hopefully find something positive to pick out before we move on to talking about our game against the Bucs coming up next weekend. So first things first, Liam, little overview of what you thought of this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it was a roller coaster, I guess we could call it. And I think people obviously spoke about a lot of the negatives, but I think that, definitely were some positives mixed in, definitely. But yeah, there was obviously some issues again on the offensive side of the ball. The defense wasn't bad by any means. Again, I think we were pretty solid. We're doing a pretty good job of keeping teams sort of around that 20-point mark, which usually is you would call it enough to win a lot of games, but we're just not putting up the points, are we, to beat teams, and we're just not playing with any sort of control or consistency. Like I said last week, consistency was always got to be the key. We had a good offensive performance, and you can't really just rely on one every now and again. You've got to do it every week, or at least most weeks. And we just didn't do it. Just some poor play in that fourth quarter, in particular, from players and coaches, I would say.
That was going to be my follow-up question.
Yeah.
I was going to dip into, so where are you pinning responsibility, in Ridder or in Smith or C elsewhere? But I assume it's going to be A or B.
I think you can make calls on for all three of those, really. You could say that there was certainly some bad coaching decisions in there, bad play calls, and just bad timing of things. I think some of them, you could definitely put on Ridder with just bad decisions, throwing the ball and just bad throws in general.
Yeah.
And some of the other stuff, I think there was some certainly towards that on that. I think it was the last interception. That I think it was it was the third one that was trying to go to Bijan, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I thought, I didn't think it was a good play call, but I also thought it was a pretty bad route from Bijan, to be honest. I think he just ran that route, giving the defender the best opportunity to jump the ball there, really. If he'd have just come across instead of trying to go back up the field, he would have had a throw out to him, but he tried to go back and basically put himself behind the defender almost, which, really shouldn't have really thrown the ball, but maybe he thought he was going to carry on running across the field. I don't know. But either way, I think you could pin something on all three aspects there across that. It's even just in that quarter alone.
Literally, yeah. What's our Ridder summary looking like then? So he threw for 307 yards, obviously the 2 touchdowns and the 3 interceptions. What's our call on him so far? I don't mean in and out just yet. I'm just meaning, where does he go from here?
I mean, people's sort of criticism of him certainly earlier on was he didn't throw in many yards. Like, he's throwing like the sort of like less than 100 or early hundreds, wasn't he, in terms of yards? Last couple of weeks he's put over 300 in both games now, which is big progress in his yardage numbers. I thought he made some really nice throws. Obviously, his touchdown pass to Pitts was an excellent throw.
Yeah.
And he's put some other nice throws in there, but then sort of almost in the opposite to last week, and opposite to some other weeks, he had a better first 3 quarters and then fell apart in the fourth. He usually does the opposite. But he just, there was some decisions in there that you just, like the first interception, it was a good play from the defender, but, I think he should have probably, it was similar to the one that we saw in London. He should have probably read that a little bit better.
Yeah.
So the one to Bijan just wasn't good. And the one in the end zone, I know it was a kind of like a bit of a desperation sort of throw when we needed to do something. I kind of we're behind and all that, but it was just bad. It was just floated up there. It wasn't even in the right range.
I was going to say there wasn't a Falcons player in 10 yards.
If you're going to throw that sort of ball, throw it, throw it over the top of the defender and over the top of our player, so that if he's either going to reach it at the very tip of his catch and hold it, or he's not going to catch it, but it's no chance for an interception. And that's what he didn't do. He threw it way short, like where there's only one player who could get it, and that was the defender. So
yeah,
you just can't do that.
I think that kind of throw at the best of times is always going to hurt, but it's just when in our defence we don't seem to have laid down very often this year. Even when we've been 2 scores down and 1 score down and everything, we look like there's still the possibility of a turnaround. And that moment there, on top of, we'll go back to it, but on top of the going for 2 points instead of 1 point, that moment there was like just almost immediately as it happened, even though there was a little bit of time left on the clock, you just knew, like there was no, the momentum just goes in plays like that, doesn't it?
We just just beat ourselves again, right? Almost, didn't we? We just had opportunities and just didn't. I don't know. It's hard to take that one.
It's a kick as well, because you see some of the balls he made, and admittedly, London can take a lot of credit for it. One of the balls to London where he like grappled it in the air and had a fight and come down with it. Yeah. There was signs of improvement, and there was signs of maybe not just in terms of the quality, because the quality is still hit and miss, but in terms of confidence, and that is something he has been lacking. And without a little bit of that, we're not going to see these like 20-yard, 30-yard, 40-yard attempts, because he's just going to play in the pocket and play safe and avoid fucking up.
I like them to that's the kind of throws I've been like with our receiver set and the type of players they are. The physical side of it. Drake London isn't a speed demon. Like that's not his game. His game is put it up high, and he's a physical receiver who challenges people. And mid is starting to see that now. What did he finish on? London, over 100 yards, 100 and whatever it was.
125 yards, 12 targets, 9 receptions.
Yeah, so he's starting to see now that London's a guy who, if he's got a receiver in and around him, as long as he puts it up high, if he puts it too low, that's what that first interception was like. He put it low, and the defender jumped it. If he puts that one up higher, gives just as long as London's got a chance to battle for it, he wins them a lot of the time. And that's the kind of throw that he can make, and he has been making. But we just saw some other pretty bad throws in there as well. And the one to Pitts was just perfect, because Pitts is just such a tall guy. He put it in that little space, and it was a great catch. So it was just some of the other stuff, sadly.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll circle back around anyway. But we ran a poll on Twitter not long after the game. Cal posted it out, and the stats for who starts for you next week, Taylor or Ridder, and it was staggering. At the start, for the first hour or two, it was like 70-30, give or take, in favour of Heineke starting next week. The poll finished just before we started the show, and it is ended 51% Ridder, 49% Heineke, and that's over 1,562 votes. So that just shows how split the fan base is at the moment in time. I am leaning Team Ridder still. I don't really think that Heineke offers that much of an upgrade in terms of, is an extra win or two going to be... I'm going to say that. Obviously, an extra win or two does matter, but they're not guaranteed. I just think that's about the capacity extra that he could achieve if he played at his best. And that's if he does, that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think Heineke's obviously had some good games for Washington and had some pretty bad games as well.
Yeah.
His good games were very good, but his bad games were pretty bad. And then I think he was pretty consistent though, but he was consistently ISO average. Like he's in that middle ground. And said earlier, I think I think it could be that Heineke could well get us a win or two more than Ridder, and he could be better than Ridder, consistently better than Ridder. But I don't think he still wouldn't be good enough for me to do what we need. He's not going to carry us to the playoffs and further into it. Like Ridder's potential is worth the risk Like Ridder could, if he does improve, like, we don't know if he will, but if he does step up and improve and get a bit more consistent, I feel like it's worth just risking it on his ceiling over somebody that we know is that middle ground sort of player. Like Heineke's not going to get any better, but Ridder could. So
no, I agree. There's no long-term benefit in starting Heineke at all. But giving Ridder his snaps and just hoping for the best. Like, everybody's going in on him. It is still early. I am still Team Ridder, but I'm Team Ridder because we don't really particularly have an outstanding option that is better.
No.
Obviously, if the circumstances were different, then maybe not, because I do think the rest of our roster is in a position to be challenging, especially when you look at the division. Every single NFC South team lost over the weekend, which leaves us all sitting pretty steady. So it's still there to be won, but I don't see a way unless Ridder absolutely buckled where he gets dropped at any point, if I'm completely honest.
And I think there was, like, although there was obviously the bad parts in those interceptions, there was I still sort of progress overall compared to the previous week. Obviously last week he was better, but like the weeks before, like I think he was better this week than any of the other weeks apart from last week, if that makes sense. Like I still think it was progression, but there was just a bit of a meltdown at the same time. But there was upside to him. So I can't see any other option than sticking with Ridder. I just don't see the point in making a switch to something to go steady.
There's been a fun little argument going around anyway that a few of the lads in one of the Falcons chats have mentioned as well, and people have been comparing Jalen Hurts' stats to Ridder's, not only over the weekend but overall this season, and they're tallying up pretty similar. But someone was trying to use that as an argument for Ridder being all right because he's matching up with Jalen Hurts, but really Jalen Hurts is underperforming as well, so I don't think it quite works like that. Hurts was 28 for 45 for 281 yards, 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions, which of course Ridder was not that far off different, but that's 2 bad comparisons, not two positive comparisons, really.
Yeah, I can't. I think Hurts is underperformed compared to his heights of last season. Obviously, that he was playing at. But he's got somebody playing way below what they're expecting versus somebody maybe playing around below what he's expecting. Like it's a bit different in that sense. And they're in a different scenario. Obviously, Hurts is not playing great, but he's actually being he's not say carried, but obviously his team are good enough to be around him. He's got the quality around him to get wins. Well, maybe it looks like we don't. I mean, I don't know what that actually is. I guess it's probably the O-line and the D-line is probably the difference there, because receiver core, yes, they've got a lot better, but if Hurts is not really finding them, then and they've not got a great run game, like compared to we've got good running backs. Difference is that they're probably winning the trenches and we're not. That's probably the only difference. Between what they're 5-1. I
think so. Everybody's got now, haven't they? So there's
and
that's
with the quarterback not playing that great. So shows how important maybe it almost argues that maybe Ridder's not the main issue there. There's O-line, D-line issues.
Well, I think we'll dip into that now. I'll just quickly bring up someone that's going all out Bryce Young. I don't know if this is serious. I don't know how deep we are in the Bryce Young chat, but
he's played 5 games.
I was going to say,
think he's a trade.
Sample sizes are very, very similar at the moment. So, but
Bryce Young was pretty good. Although they keep losing games, but he's done all right. He's doing. They're just a crap team, which is good for us.
There we go. Wait, just one more. Oh, Dak Prescott.
I don't think that financially makes any sort of sense.
That would be devastating to us. Anyway, we will leave Ridder alone. I have no doubt that when if Mark jumps on shortly, then he will want a little pitch in on that as well. However, I think it's only fair we move on to the D because they were questionable at the start and then grew into the game again and looked like they had a little bit of something about them. Grady with a sack, Bud Dupree with 1.5, Ebikite with 1.5. Like, it's steady. After literally last week, we were saying, well, I was saying, is nobody concerned about the lack of sacks?
Yeah.
We ended up actually getting them.
Yeah. And, I think we did sort of say in last week's pod, didn't we, that if there's any team you're going to get sacks against, it looked like the Commanders this season.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed that
many.
it kind of showed that, we can get sacks against that. We're going to have to get it. I would probably say that it's based on previous stats, so that's more of a Commanders issue than us stepping up on the D line. Just been terrible against everybody. So I can't really say that we've took a step up to get some sacks, but we can only do what we can do. And we got a few. The D wasn't, like you said, it wasn't exactly amazing at all times or anything like that. That was far from it, but at times. But we did enough. We got some sack numbers. We got limited them on points. Like that's usually kind of enough for a team to, if you're keeping them down to not ridiculous yards, and keeping them to a lower-ish points tally.
Yeah,
it's usually enough for defense every week, but just for us at the moment, not quite. You can't put up 16 points really in a game and expect to win a lot of games.
No, of course. Just on that note, we have a guest, not a guest.
Yes,
brought him on just as he was boozing on whatever he's on. So, Mark, we've covered Ridder so far, but we will circle back so you can have your say. We're just covering the D at the moment, saying we did finally get a few sacks, but it didn't really matter in the end, did it?
No, it didn't. I guess it's obviously what we want to see. The problem with it is it's against Washington, who've already allowed 29 sacks this season before we rolled into town. Right, so
literally echoing Liam saying this was the baseline of what we needed.
Said it's just the Commanders being the Commanders more than us stepping up, I think.
Yeah.
Also, what a time, by the way, for the jersey that I've been waiting for 2 months to turn up.
Is that not a Heineke one?
And it's shockingly enough, there's no return policy on this one.
We'll use that. We'll use that as a little detour. So a little segue. So me and Liam have covered the poll, which I don't know if you saw us share the results. Ended up 51-49 in favour of Ridder. However, last night, not long after the game, it was 70-30% wise in favour of Heineke, which shows the immediate impulse reaction.
Oh, 100%.
And everyone seems to have settled today because the percentage was it went from that and it just went. So it's nice. And what's your overall take?
Arthur Blank doesn't fire people very quickly, so Coach Smith isn't going anywhere. Arthur Smith doesn't, he's one thing you'll give him. He's bullish, right? He wants to prove, right? Look, we're going on a journey here with a QB that we're really taking a chance on. Yeah. And I seen some wonderful things from him yesterday, and I seen some not wonderful things from him yesterday. Am I still unconvinced? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I'm INT's away. I mean, that's the worst part about it. But INT's out of it. He was slinging the ball, which is why kind of can't really put everything. I'm not saying he doesn't shoulder the blame, because he does shoulder some of it, because some of them INTs were horrible. But I do think that some of them INTs were horrible because we're not really getting the wide receivers to run basic stuff. It almost feels like we're trying to be too complicated with an offense. And I brought this conversation up a few weeks ago and I think it kind of went under the radar. And I think I'm kind of happy that this conversation is coming back, because actually, maybe it knows. Maybe I'm starting to learn and know stuff and know what I'm talking about. But we need an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like we've already seen the Panthers do it already this year. Like, coach, most of us, I mean, you're not doing yourself many favors right now, but most of us still love the bones of you.
Yeah.
Stop putting it all on your shoulders, bring in an OC, and let's see what else we can do with this offense. I really think the O-line was really, really subpar again. Like they were better-ish, but I don't think Washington's front four are really that dynamic, bar Chase Young. So, he wasn't getting as much pressure, but the problem that I seen was that he was obviously, and I don't know whether he's being told in his ear, throw the ball to, like on that last INT, throw the ball to Bijan, who was on a slant. Like it was just like it was almost like overcomplicated, but so obvious what he was going to do. And this is where this offense needs to change, because I'm really starting to believe this offense is what's holding us back, and I don't necessarily think that's all down to Dez. So, one of Dez's main strengths was he didn't turn the ball over. One of Dez's main strengths was he didn't panic. And it's almost as if now, and I don't think the fan base is really helping with this conversation, but we're almost going, you've been not amazing.
Yeah.
You haven't been bad, but you've not been amazing for 6 games. Therefore, we already all hate you. And I think that's disgrace. And that's why I put this jersey on tonight. Not because I love him. I do love him a little bit, but not because not because I think he's the best thing since sliced cheese, but he's still a young quarterback. He's still only 8 games into his career. Are we not going to let this kid develop? And you hit the nail on the head there, right? The poll, right? Everyone yesterday. Heineke. In this offense, what is Taylor Heineke going to do better than Dez?
Yeah, so
those receivers are still going to be running them routes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we said that for the differential of, if it goes well, might I add, for the differential of 1, maybe 2 more wins, or seeing the potential upside of Ridder, you probably gamble on Ridder like 9 out of 10 times.
It isn't really he won't extend drives like
no.
Heineke will not have the cojones to make those runs to the outside, to keep those drives going like Ridder automatically does.
Yeah.
And again, I want to really caveat this, because I'm still not 100% sold. But what I really can't get away from at the minute is he's not better. You're doing, the fan base is doing exactly what they did with Matt Ryan.
It's reactionary.
Exactly what they said to Matt Ryan. You haven't given us 70 points a game every game. Therefore, we hate you. You're awful. Give us somebody else.
Yeah.
Bring back Mike Vick. We should. And can we just visit for a second, please?
Oh no.
And again, I'm not doing a massive comparing here, but you got teams across these leagues who are paying quarterbacks massive contracts. Yeah. Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not saying Desmond Ridder is better than them, but what I'm saying is that they're not setting the league on fire.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jalen Hurts just got beat by the Jets.
Yeah, so we just covered this. The stats, not only over the weekend, but over the whole season so far, are tallying up almost perfectly. So we were like, does that represent badly on Hurts or well on Ridder? Because it's one or the other. But
all I'm saying is we have to start to get to will. And, I think this is the fun thing, right here, just before I said it, right? Sorry. I must have clicked. No, I'm not going to click it. You click.
I've got it now.
I don't feel like Ridder's ready. Well, how is he going to get ready? How is he going to get ready? You're gonna go and bring in a vet quarterback with some loads of experience that's somehow going to make him better, but he goes into his last year of his contract next year as a third-round pick. Like, how are you ever going to get this kid ready? And this is my point. We might as well just roll with him. And if he's throwing 3 INTs a game, fine, bench him. He's done it once. And it was against, I'm not saying Washington are a team that we absolutely should have beaten this week. But I just, putting it all at his door, it's boring. Come on, you guys, you guys have done this again about Matt Ryan. You did it for 3 years. I've got indents in my thumbs from arguing with people on social media, from everybody saying Matt Ryan needs to go, Matt Ryan needs to go, Matt Ryan needs to go, Matt Ryan. It's the same conversation. You all are boring. Like, what else are we going to do? What else? There's nobody else to bring in. Like, did anybody else watch the London game this week?
No, thankfully.
Right. Well, let me tell you, Lamar struggled against the Titans. And that's the guy that people wanted to spend $300 million and 2 first-round picks on. Oh, your boy Deshaun Watson, who people were baying for at the time. Some people weren't because of the alleged stuff, right? Which we're not going to go into. But there was a lot of people that were baying for him, and he has stunk in Cleveland. So don't come at me and don't just stop making yourself look foolish. This is boring now. It's not a quarter. We have problems at quarterback, but everybody's got them.
Yeah, absolutely.
The real thing we seen yesterday was that this play calling, this coaching setup that we've got ain't working because we've completely lost our identity.
Well, that leads me in perfectly to the next controversial topic that's had social
Sorry,
media.
by the way, before you move on, Liam, have you got anything else to add? I realise I'm just came in like a whirlwind.
No, I mean, I covered my bit really cool.
It's been on my mind all day. So
I said something similar. I said, I think Heineke, obviously Heineke could end up being a better, not right now, but could end up being a better quarterback than Ridder. Like, if Ridder doesn't progress, but he's not good enough to do anything really different. Like, Heineke would come in and probably be pretty safe. Like, he'd do a safe job, probably. Like, he'd maybe, like Mark said, he wouldn't drive us forward in the same way, but he'd probably make less mistakes, like right now. But it wouldn't propel us into being a great team. Like, so we might as well roll with a guy who's maybe going to develop and have a better upside than a guy that we know is kind of in the middle pack of quarterbacks and will do a solid job. We might as well find out something than go with something that we know is pretty middle and just there's just no point. Like, he was an option there for obviously having the experience. If Ridder really, really, really struggled, or if Ridder got injured, then we had a good option. But I think I'd rather just roll, even if Ridder struggles or plays, not struggles. Obviously, if he's absolutely terrible, like he would come out. But if he's like playing this sort of level for the rest of the season, like making mistakes but also doing good things, I'd rather just go with it for the rest of the season. And then I would say if he doesn't show improvement by the end of this season, we look at a good option.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely fine. That's not irrational. That's you've had your 21 games before from last season.
Yeah,
you've had your 21 games to show yourself, and you've still not been good enough. That's all right. That's acceptable.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, right? The INTs were awful. And the thing is, we've lost our identity, right? That whole thing last year, we're going to run the piss out of this football, right? Go back to running the piss out of the football, right? Because right now, what they're trying to do, and I don't know if it's because they're worried about Bijan getting injured or whether they've just changed that offense completely to be less run, and they're trying to make Ridder throw, which is what we hear every week, right? Oh well, Ridder's going to have to throw the ball. Well, guess what? He threw for another 300 yards this week. Now, the INTs, absolutely, I get it, but Week 1, Ritter's got to throw the ball more. Week 2, Ritter's got to throw the ball more. Week 3, yeah. Week 4, yeah. Week 5, stop throwing the ball. You're throwing INTs. Like.
Well, I think that's the perfect summary though, because people are discrediting him because of the amount of interceptions, but not crediting him for the good plays that he's having. Talent isn't gonna wither, so the good things he's doing aren't gonna just vanish from his game. However, you can iron out interceptions, and you can.
The most heartbreaking thing, and I said this on the WhatsApp group, right? The most heartbreaking thing about that game, right, was that we came so close. So he drove us down that field 3 times.
In a minute. In literally a minute.
Don't get me wrong. Defense kept us in the game in that second half. I mean, the defense were meh in the first half. Howell was throwing that ball and making a borderline mockery of it in some places. Now, the difference is defense changed it up, and it was great, and it was brilliant to watch, and it was brilliant to see them stop them. But everyone goes, oh well, you need to see Desmond Ridder play really good for 4 quarters. But for the most part, apart from the INTs, I mean, he did have a pretty strong 4 quarters.
I mean, and again, I know I keep speaking. It's them that, yeah, exactly, and they were avoidable in a way, but again, they're things that can be ironed out of the game. Whereas the good things that he's done, and like me and Liam were talking about earlier, the ball to London, a couple of other balls, a little bit more confidence in his game. Where's the credit for them? Or does that not apply? Do you not get? You don't get both sides of the ball, do you? You only get the negatives. So,
and do you know what? Right, I'm just going to bring this up again, right? And Chris, appreciate you tuning in, really, really do. What do you want? No. Bro, what do you want? You want Heineke? Do you think Heineke's going to solve the problems? Cool, whatever. Yeah, cool. Right, bring him in. See what happens, and then what we gonna do when that doesn't work out?
Fair.
Oh,
just a little disclaimer.
What's QB3 called again?
Who?
Logan Woodside. That's what it'll be. Bring in Heineke next week, and by week 10, I'm gonna see hashtags for bringing Logan Woodside, because guess what? That's our only option.
Fair enough. So another controversial topic before this descends into hell and Mark bursts into flames. One that was controversial between ourselves and not just on the wider community. The shout to go for 2 points as opposed to 1 when it would have still only been a 1-play game. Liam, what are your thoughts on that? And then Mark, I'll move on to you.
I mean, I would have played it safer. I think, I don't see it unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't really see the play going for 2-point plays sometimes because it's just difficult.
Yeah.
But I get, you're showing a bit of ambition and balls to go for that sort of thing. But
yeah,
just they all say there's a big sort of algorithm or maths to this sort of thing, but realistically there isn't that much to it. Is it 1 score, 2 score? Are you going to put them out of just in 1 field goal, 1 touchdown? Did it in 2-point play if you get 2 points? All that sort of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
But and then I don't know what the percentages are of getting a 1 point over a 2-point score. Is it the average percentage, the percentage of actually making it for the sake of 1 point. Sometimes you don't go for it, but
yeah, that's.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's just one of them.
Mark, what are you leaning towards? Because in the chat, you nearly hung on and quartered Cal for saying shouldn't have gone for it.
It's just, I think at that point in the game, we had the momentum. We just had another great drive down the field. Just put it in the end zone. We were behind. Are you trying to tie a game or are you trying to win a game? And and then when you have it on then you've managed to get it on the 1. So you've drew the penalty, you've got it on the 1.
Yeah.
So like automatically at that point, and kind of come back to what I said earlier about just go back to your identity, right?
Yeah.
You should have just put everything behind Algier going straight up the middle. But
yeah,
again,
I agree with that as a play. Yeah, that's a different.
But I have absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
With that call, because Arthur Smith, for all his faults, like the Lions are a great example, right?
Yeah.
If you followed the Lions since Dan Campbell took over,
they
go for it on 4th down and they go for fake plays and all sorts all the time because it's part of their DNA. We don't care. We're going to do this, and do you know what it is? Sometimes, guess what? Don't worry. So, but
it's true. It's true.
It's how you stay competitive. Like imagine you're Washington and that goes in, right?
Head
all of a sudden, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, sure, I didn't, but you go, well, why didn't he play it safe? Well, because safe football don't win you games.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair, I probably reacted, but it was more the well, why didn't you play it safe? Well, this is the wrong sport if you just want to come in and play it safe. If you want to go and play for Jose Mourinho, you put 5 in the middle of the park, you create a little diamond thing, and then and that's how you play it safe, right? But it's American football.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's offer a hypothetical then. Okay, let's jump this on. Nick, no problem at all. Thank you for joining us late. If you do want to listen to it back, it will be on YouTube and Spotify and everything after the show finishes. You missed Mark nearly burst into flames when I asked him about Ridder, so I'd definitely go back.
I'm ready for it.
And then the hypothetical comes courtesy of Nick as well. So, bam. I personally disagree with that one in a way, though, because the the issue with that is what you miss the 2 then, and then you look like a buffoon because you have the opportunity to tie the game, go for the 2 points, fumble that, and now you're still behind. And all of that work was for practically nothing because it depends how long's left on the clock. So the alternative route was the safer one, because you still know you have X amount of time left on the clock. Should it not work?
And the daft thing is, when we think back to it, we actually had time to go in twice, and then still go down the field and kick a field goal.
Yeah, so I know. So, that's why it's a kick in the teeth.
Do you see what I mean? Like there was a lot of things that didn't go that didn't go our way.
Yeah,
Paul, I love Jose. Protege of Bonnie Robson. You're not going to find any abuse here from me, but it was an analogy. So, but like Nick's just said it there, right? Missing that 2 points killed all the momentum we had, right?
Yeah.
But we had momentum, and had it got it. Look, it's always one of these things. It's an inches decision. If it doesn't come off, it doesn't come off. You've got to roll with that. But my point was, I didn't hate it. I think that was, for me, not a bad call. It was a ballsy call. And Arthur Smith, for all his fault, he's got a pair of.
One thing that I did think was funny, but ironically funny, is that Smith said in his presser that we did it in LA and in Tampa last year.
Yeah, but we lost both those games.
But we lost 21-15 and 31-27. So it was like, yeah, we did it, but that's really bad examples because it didn't come to anything. But I understand the logic. Yeah, we succeeded with it, fine, but it didn't win us the game. So it's not quite as bold as it looks.
And Nick's spot on, right? There's a bigger issue than we're relying on 4th quarter football to win games, right? And
that's funny as well, because we had an episode earlier on in the season called 4th Quarter Falcons, because 2 weeks running we did the business in the 4th quarter. We've not done it since. That was it. It's not who we are. It's not what we're known for. It was just a stint.
I go back to it though. Had we just been a little bit better set up.
Yeah.
We drove down that field numerous times, and it's that was what was heartbreaking about it, because we actually did most of the difficult stuff.
Yeah.
We got the ball down the field, and guys, right? How many times during the back end towards when Matt was getting older and regressing a little bit, right? How many times were we behind, and then we get back on the field, and then we go, something might happen here, and we go 3-0.
Yeah.
That wasn't what was happening. We like Des was making 20, 30 yard plays down the field.
100%.
It's like, I think that's a frustrating thing of like the weakness that we've got in the red zone.
Yeah.
Is you can throw the ball 20, 30 yards to get to the 50, 60, 50 yard line, 40 yard line, whatever.
Yeah.
But we can't execute that into the end zone,
Yeah.
which is I think that's the most frustrating thing.
Mind-boggling when you have people the height of Kyle Pitts knocking about as well. Like, that should be the easiest part of the game, surely. But
yeah, I think some of it is down to the type of offense receiver-wise that we built. We built a physical go-up team who, when we make plays, we tend to make catch, get tackled sort of plays. Like,
yes.
Like, and in the end zone, that means we have to make catches in the end zone, which is not easy because you haven't got space. What other teams have, like, obviously they have those type of players as well, but they usually tend to have ball in hand, like playmakers, which are almost like running backs out there, where if they get the ball 20, 30 yards away from the end zone, they can catch the ball and get to the end zone from that position by catching it on a shorter route and making people miss by basically being a running back. Drake London and so on, he's not going to do that. Like, he's just not got the speed and agility to make that play. Neither does Holly. Like, none of them do, basically. So
apart from Bijan,
he's usually a little bit further back with his obviously position. So really, I think we could do with that shorter sort of slot ball in hand receiver who can get the ball.
Do you think Jefferson potentially comes out?
Yeah, I think he's more. I see him more as like just an over the top guy. Like, just I feel like he's got more speed than agility. Like, if he can beat people on the top, which is great, that could obviously do the job as well.
Yeah.
But I don't see him as a ball in hand and beat a lot of guys, sort of guy. Not, it's not an easy thing to find, that type of player. But I feel like we could have something like that in the team. And maybe Jefferson will, if he can beat people over the top with a bit more speed.
Yeah.
Maybe that will give us a bit more of those longer touchdowns and not have to rely on physicality.
Yeah, no, bang on. Hello, mate. Thank you for joining us. You've missed Mark implode when asked questions about Ridder or Heineke. So if you have chance, I'd definitely go back and watch the show from the start when we've finished, or catch it on Spotify later in the week. But we are gonna chug along. Something that I wanted to put out to you both, and hopefully it's short and sweet, but it was circulating on X, Twitter, whatever, as well. The quality of snaps, and we did briefly mention this a few weeks ago, saying that the handovers are slow, and we couldn't quite identify whether it was Ridder not reacting as he should, but people seem to think it's the actual quality of the snaps at the moment. Have either of you noticed anything in terms of that, or like that really stand out? We have said that there is sometimes a 1, 2, 3 seconds before any movement happens.
I've seen a couple of snaps actually fall at Ridder's feet, and Ridder's had to pick it up and then do something with it. And listen, center's not an easy position to play, especially when
we were blessed for so long.
Well, yeah, there is that. But Dolman's, he's still a young team. I think I certainly think it's adding to it. I don't think it's a.
I was going to say I'm not pinning. I'm not.
It's a huge detriment right now, but
another contributing factor.
100%. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Does anyone have anything else that they want to cover about the weekend's game just gone before I dip into more?
One sort of honourable mention. Terry, please sign Jeff Kuda.
Oh my God! Yeah.
For the most part, I say our first half was a bit rough, but again, they have got some weapons as well. So and like I say, one of Howell's main strengths is he can air it out, right? But just a bit of an honourable mention there, like Okuda and AJ Terrell together. That's a lovely lovely little pairing that they've got coming up, and I just wanted to call that out because he's we were waiting for him to start again, and I think we're starting to see something develop there.
Yeah, absolutely. Circling back a little bit just to cater to the masses. No excuse of having a delay. Very much so. Very much so. And then in turn, that relates to this that we have briefly covered, but we can do a little summary again. I'm still all in on Arthur Smith. However, and I think Mark and Liam are probably of the same opinion, maybe it is time for an offensive coordinator to lighten the load and add a different dimension to us. We look very 1D at the moment, a little bit tunnel vision. So I think Arthur Smith in, but he needs some support.
And I think the biggest travesty, and you're certainly seeing it in the passing game in Washington.
Yeah.
Is if it was an OC's job, you should have gone after Eric Bieniemy. I think that's one of the reasons they're managing to get the balls into the hands of receivers. Coaches, there's no shame in it. Honestly, there's no shame. Like we want you to do well, and like I said at the beginning when I came on, all hellfire and brimstone. It's what that man has done over the past 2 years. Putting up with the Matt Ryan situation, putting up with the Julio Jones situation, the cap situation, all of the drama that comes along with being the Falcons head coach. Like, guys, he's still, I don't want to try and make excuses for him because, the play calling has not been good, right? But he's still a relatively inexperienced head coach in the NFL.
Like, still competitive.
It's difficult to swallow as a fan, but mistakes are going to happen. These guys have got to learn.
Of course.
And listen, that delay a game.
Something else that Nick's just mentioned. Sorry, Nick, it's your show as well at the moment. However, I did also see this on socials, and the shouts were, and this isn't me, as I've just outlined my position, but people were saying Arthur Smith should watch his back because there's a head coach in there somewhere.
Well, I think so. Really, really good point. I'm glad we brought it up. I'm interested to hear Liam's point on this as well. So, first of all, I'm not interested to hear yours as well, Danny, obviously, but I think one of the things to note was I don't think Terry Fontenot necessarily hired Arthur Smith. I think that was because it was all really done together, wasn't it? And I seen something which I thought was quite interesting earlier on was that Arthur brought his guys, so Dean Pease and blah 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 blah. And then when Coach Pease retired, it kind of felt like it was a bit of a Terry hire. Like he went back to the Saints, he went and got Coach Nielsen, who I think's been brilliant, by the way. But before we all get over ahead of ourselves, he's done a great job for 6 games. He was a positional coach. This is his first coordinator's job, so I really don't think that necessarily he's got someone waiting in the wings behind him to take over the head coach job. But what I did find interesting when a tweet that I read earlier on was, what you might find if patience does run out with Coach Smith is this next head coach, should it happen, which, by the way, caveat, I don't think it is going to, would be another Terry hire.
Yeah.
So, I think that's potentially a Pandora's box to open just there. But again,
of its own.
I don't. Quite possibly. But I think to Nick's point, Ryan Nielsen's done a brilliant job. We were all a little bit skeptical. Positional, like D-line coach, not great. And defense has been good. It's not amazing, but it's good, right?
Been steadier. We've not seen these sites for quite some time, so where it's due.
So but I certainly don't think that there's necessarily Nielsen waiting in the wings because he's nowhere near experienced enough yet. But
that's fair enough. Liam, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we would look at. Like, it obviously depends on how long. Like, Nielsen could be a future head coach, but I don't think it's like, next year. But if Smith is around for another couple of years, then maybe. But we don't even know why people might not even want that sort of role. He might have no ambition of doing it. But yeah, I do think Terry would be obviously driving that. Like what his ideas would be.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm sure he'd always have people in mind, regardless of whether Smith's under any threat or not. He's always going to be looking at that sort of thing, isn't he? And scouting around the league about potential guys. That's just part of his role, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know whether we, be dipping into anybody from the Saints or whatever if that happened. When he can't do that again. No, when he can't do that again, no, I don't know. I mean, they what's his face? I can't remember what his name now. Was it named off me? Dennis Allen, isn't it? He's a former Atlanta guy.
He's a dead man.
He's born and bred in Atlanta. Was our he was a coach in Atlanta a long time ago. So they did the same. Maybe we're going to do the same. But no, I think we're always going to be looking at different options. Yeah, I get the point of the offensive coordinator replacement much more than the head one.
No, not yet.
No. I think sometimes their offense is a little bit stale and boring and a little bit confused. But that's an offensive issue with his play calling and his scheme rather than him as a head coach. So
yeah,
and maybe you could sort of mix it a little bit and have where an offensive coordinator takes a lot of the snaps calls and maybe Smith sort of specializes in some of those tight end sets that we've seen him specialize in, things that he really knows better than other stuff.
Yeah,
he could call that sort of play and the offensive coordinator could call the other stuff and take a bit of the pressure off and mix it in that way.
Yeah,
I think that's an option.
So just on the comments, so I just want to get because Nick's coming up with some gold here, right? So
he's coming up with some gold. He's on Red Bull or booze. One of the other tonight in the comments.
If Smith doesn't get us to the playoffs, he'll be gone at the end of the season. Unless Terry pulls the trigger, I don't see it. I think a bad season next year, like 100%. I think that's hot seat territory. I really don't think he's in the hot seat now. And I think, I'm going to come to that comment in 1 second. But I think the other thing, Coach Prime, and don't get me wrong, we're all enjoying it. Everyone loves Deion Sanders for many reasons. And, he's done great work at Colorado. Fine. But, people saying Coach Prime for Atlanta, my words, guys, you need to chill.
Well, I think Alan just alluded to that exact point then, didn't he? By saying, again, what we said earlier in the show, the reactionary people that want these gung-ho decisions and then are the same people that are like, oh, this person out, or this person's trash, or whatever, a little bit later. They're all the same people, the neutrals, the ones that are level-headed and rational, would never.
I wouldn't call myself level-headed, but I think at the same time, I think at the same time, I understand. I think one thing that we have to maybe compartmentalize is, we've been fans for a few years between us, right? There are people in Atlanta who've had to deal with this misery all of their life, and so as much as I have ranted this evening, and there's no disrespect intended, there is a level of understanding that I have where you're sick of seeing Atlanta being the whipping boys, the laughing stock.
Yeah.
And I get it. I do understand it. I just think, firstly, that I need to stay off Twitter a bit more. And secondly, that
I'm sure others would agree.
Well, no, because it keeps the content rolling in, doesn't it? But it's I think we've just got to just take the season for what it is, and
I agree.
Just roll with the punches.
I agree. First shout by Paul there. Cal he's on night shift, so he's currently sat at work. So Nick, you're next in line as it stands, unless anyone wants to challenge you in the comments. Right. On that note, I think we'll move in. Yes, on to Tampa. Of course, just got beat by the Lions 20-6. Baker Mayfield throwing 19 out of 37, 206 yards, not a single touchdown, and one interception. God, the yards are looking bleak. White with 26 yards, Vaughn with 9 yards, Mayfield himself with 6, Tompkins with 5. Receiving a little bit sharper with Godwin, Evans, Palmer. How are we feeling?
Usual suspects.
Yeah, usual suspects. Rinse and repeat. How are we feeling?
Go on, Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not reading sort of too much into that particular result for the Bucs on the basis that we've been saying from our own point of view that the Lions are a good team and they did beat us pretty well, and they've just
sitting at 5-1.
So I'm not reading too much into that particular performance. They've been okay. The Bucs have been pretty good in places, haven't they? Maybe slightly better than people thought they were going to be, which certainly
a pain to us.
Yeah, certainly Baker's been slightly better than I thought it was going to be, at least.
Yeah.
Mike Evans obviously had a hamstring problem prior to that game. That I don't know whether he was fully recovered or not. He only came off the injury designation on Friday, so maybe he wasn't. But even still, I don't think he would have beat the Lions regardless. But they've got some threats that we obviously have to handle on the offense.
Yeah.
They haven't really got a running game, like pretty much at all, which is good for us. But the main thing is we're going to have to put some points on the defense, and they don't tend to give up a lot of points. Tampa, like they were pretty good on defense last season. They're pretty good again.
Even losing, only giving up 20 points is similar to how we've been performing.
Yeah, they're not giving up many points, so that's a concern for us. Because they've got a very good sort of linebacking core, very good secondary, good D line. They've got a lot of things to work with. So we're gonna have to come up with something to put up 20+ points at least, and then hope that we can obviously just make Baker pass the ball when he doesn't have a great game, and we could win that game. But it's going to be a battle, that one.
I think the thing for me is they're a well coached team, right? And they have to be if they've taken on Baker Mayfield. So I think Liam's absolutely spot on. They're better than everyone thought they were going to be, right? So I still think they're beatable. I'll be honest with you. I think us, the Saints, and the Bucs are of a pretty much a similar caliber.
Yeah.
I think the difference will be towards the end of the season who makes the most amount of mistakes. I can really, really see us, this division potentially being won by somebody with a losing record. If I'm honest,
it's got wild card written all over it as well,
which is wild, right? So it's going to be who can fix their problems first.
Yeah.
And I've got one friend who's a Bucs fan, who's possibly one of the most irritating people I know because he messages me every week when we lose and they win. Luckily, I haven't had a message this week because they lost yesterday, which is nice. So I think we're just in a position now where we keep saying, got problems, we need to fix them.
Yeah.
Go fix them.
Go fix them.
Because the only way that we're going to win this division is if we win our divisional games, right? So whatever it takes, we need to get fixed first, and that's the bottom line.
This division comes down to that final game of the season against the Saints. I will vomit. I will not be able to watch live because that's got disaster written all over it, and I'd like to think I'm quite positive generally.
Well, what is it? Last game's against the Saints, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Well, as somebody who watched them against Houston, I remember sitting here first show of the season, and we said, "Oh, Derek Carr, that's a good bit." I mean, it's no different from when they had Andy Dalton. They're the same. The offense, they carried the same threat.
I agree.
So I which is why for me the divisional games are so important now.
Yeah.
And it has to start with Tampa, and it has to start with us fixing this road game and fixing this offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Comments. We do not accept any content as our own. I mean, maybe I don't have any Bucs fans friends, thankfully. So there's only Mark's content on that.
Well, I mean, they were pretty quiet up until Brady. So I mean,
maybe so.
They went win now. It worked for them, right?
Yeah.
So credit where it's due. But I mean, they were miserable. They were miserable for a long time before Brady came in. The Jameis Winston years, which were wonderful to watch. So it's a quarterback who's legally half blind. So it's one of them guys. Genuinely, I think, as I said earlier on, usual suspects, right? There's nothing about that Bucs team that we don't know. They're a well-coached team. They've got a good defense, and they've got some proven weapons on offense, right? And if they're winning with Baker, it means they're keeping it simple because Baker can't do complicated. And that's what we need to take a leaf out of that book.
Yeah. Anything extra to add on the Bucs, Liam?
No, I do think it's a very important game. I think it'll be another battle. I think we'll have some great divisional games this season, hopefully. It's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be our sort of the trenches. I think is where we're going to have to step up and deliver because they're going to bring some pretty big, large unit of a man in Vita Vea. He's going to be hard to handle if he's stopping our sort of run game.
I think he fumbled over the weekend though.
Vita Vea fumbled.
Let me double check. Correct. Yeah, I believe. Oh no! Wait, no. Wait.
They say I would have loved to have seen that large man carrying a ball. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, no, he did.
You did?
Yeah.
I've not watched that one.
Yeah. I'm on the.
Let's not worry about how.
But,
Technicalities don't matter. The ball's dropped, it's dropped.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. But I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Yeah, but we're gonna have to play better on, especially
there's a lot of season left. But with that bye week that they've had, it puts them in a slight different position to us. You don't really want to be them sitting at 3-3 and you at 3-4 and still be a game of hand. And then I don't even know when our bye week is. I'm sure it's not for quite some time.
Yeah, I can't remember. Is it 13? I can't remember what it is.
Not a clue. But I don't want to be looking up at them. Wait a sec. What's going on here?
I don't know, but I think
something Baker.
7 touchdowns. Are you absolutely joking?
No, it's good.
And then Des 6 for 6. Is that
Baker's
right?
Yeah, six touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
I don't know what sort of flag football game we're expecting on that one, but I don't think it's going to go that far. I think genuinely, I think it's going to be.
He's talking about his stats. That's his season stats. That's both the season stats.
Oh,
not he's not going to do it.
Not this game coming.
Right.
Baker's not throwing for 7.
On the season, right?
That would be what a game that would be.
73-9. Sorry. God.
That would be an awesome game.
Yeah.
I'd sign me up. Yeah. For the week. Yeah.
But I think it's interesting, right? Because, like I say, we're going to a Tampa team right now, like you said, right? Even against Detroit, they only let 20 points in. So I think it's going to be a really, really low scoring game. I can't see it being, a 7-6 touchdown shootout. This is going to be a battle of who can really kind of get through. Who can really kind of get through the sticks when it matters. I think it's going to be, if you've got the Bucs kicker or Koo in your fantasy teams, I think it's going to be a big one for them.
I was going to say it's got Koo last second kick written all over it for me, so I'll hold myself to that. I have our over and under. However, I was open to suggestions if either of you two had a stat line that you want to throw in, because I just keep doing these and I'm not the best at it. I know I'm not, but I'm trying to get a little split opinion, and I'm not. Every single week we all go for the same thing now. So I'm happy to change if any of you have anything off the top of your head. Because
before we go on to the next one, last week's was Tyler to get under or over 2.5 rushing yards on average per play. He smashed it. He got 3.9, one of his highest his second highest of the season. So that's points for everyone. So Mark, that's still me and you down there somewhere. Liam right up here, and Cal sitting about there. Nick's just put a great suggestion in the chat.
That's not bad. I'd need to see a baseline.
Okay.
I have one for a future week, not an idea for a future week as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy to look at field goal numbers for both teams so far this season if we can get them up. And
so would you let me set this one?
Absolutely, hit me.
Under or over 5 field goals in the game
in total.
In total for both teams. Not extra points, field goals.
Yeah, just field goals.
Wait, for betting terms, can we do it under over 5.5? Because otherwise 5's not a consideration. You know what I mean? If you say
we'll do 4.5.
4.5, so it's 4 and down or 5 and up. I'm taking the over then. I'm taking the over.
I'm going to take the over too.
Oh, I mean, I was So 4 it's all 5 is over.
So yeah, so over 4.5.
Please.
So if you go under, it'll be 4 or under. If you go over, it'll be 5 or over.
I beg that you go for the under. we need a point differentiation somehow. We just keep going for the same thing. I'll get Cal.
That's why I wanted to make it a little bit out there.
Yeah, I'll get Cal separately, so I'll note that down. I need the countdown clock of summit ticking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over. I think I really want to go under.
Actually, right. Okay, I'll go under.
Okay.
Okay.
I was close to it. I'm close to that one. Like could he go either way?
Okay. Well, Mark's took a punt on his own.
I mean, it could easily be under that one.
I'll try and get Carl.
Really, it's one of them where it depends how the game goes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think one for future weeks. I think of it something along the lines of the longest individual reception.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I'll take that.
Quite hard to predict that one.
Yeah.
Yep, no, I'll take that.
So I just want to put this out here. So Paul's a regular listener. Paul, if there's 10 field goals in this game, we'll get you on the show.
we will get you on the show, and yeah, that I think even that's not enough. 10.
Hi, Ben.
Hello, Ben. Thank you for joining us. You've missed Mark's implosion.
See, we've split it here. So we've got, look at this. So we've got Matthew coming in under 4.5. We've got Paul saying over 4.5. Another over. And another under. It's interesting times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was told all the guys on the idea of it.
There we go. That was a good one. Everyone is invested.
Maybe I'm just trying to be a bit of a snake oil salesman.
Unfortunately, everyone participating in the comments, all you win is pride.
Yeah.
But that's more than us lot have. So
come back and tell us that you proved us right or wrong.
Yes, exactly. Maybe we should have done a viewers scoreboard, but that would have been chaotic to try and maintain. We'd have to trust everybody keeping their own score, and somebody had come in saying, "I've got 19." That's funny. We've only done 7 so far, so another under. Maybe we'll run a competition. Maybe we will. I'd love to do stuff like that. We'll see what we can do. 3 total field goals, so another under.
Matt coming in with that.
Matt. Love that. Right. That's a lot. Are we done with the Bucs? Are we sick of them? Or have we got any little...
No,
I'm sick of them generally, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sick of them existing, if I'm honest. But yeah, we'll leave that one there.
Perfect. So any other business? We've got the nice little positive one to start us off with. I'm sure we'll figure some stuff out as we go along. Mr. Campbell last night got his 100th sack, didn't he? Which is alone beautiful, fair enough. Like, hats off, stunning. On the back of that, he has launched the celebration. There we go. He's launched a fund. Oh, there we go. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, everyone. Awesome. Yeah, he is launching a fund to donate 100,000 to teachers in Phoenix, Jacksonville, Baltimore, and Atlanta, all the teams that he's scattered about, and an additional 20,000 in Denver and Miami as well, which is very, very nice. That is stunning.
That's great.
So it's going to get school books and all the accessories and all that stuff.
Wow, that's amazing.
I've not read into it, like all the ins and outs just yet, but fair play, 100 grand and just separating it between everywhere that he's been. Although it does make him look like a journeyman. That's absolutely hilarious.
Well, I mean, geezers. I mean, it's quite terrifying that I'm the same age as him. But you know, I think it's just again, it's another show of just what a great guy is. And I know it was only a one year deal to bring him here, and I'm so glad we did. Total locker room guy, if nothing else. And he's been exemplary, and he's an exemplary human. And I just love the guy, and I never want him to leave. But yeah, that's such a wonderful gesture.
That's a nice little one. I thought that'd be a nice little one to throw in. I've actually not got a great deal else off the top of my head. I'm just having a click through our likes on Twitter just in case. Has anyone else got anything juicy they want to bring up, or anyone that's watching live? Anything you want to shove in the comments? Any other business from around the NFL that's not necessarily Falcons?
So a little bit. So and this I'll make this quick. So for all you listeners out there who are big on fantasy football, so I had literally a game yesterday which didn't really go my way, and I thought, what it is, I'm in for the win here, and then I realized that he had one player left to play, which was his quarterback, which was Josh Allen, and Josh Allen was playing the Giants. And if he'd got his predicted score, which was 22 points, I would have lost. And I think this is kind of testament to what we were saying earlier on about how mental the NFL is this year, and how as kind of big name quarterbacks that are being somewhat inconsistent. Josh Allen against the Giants last night. Josh Allen, who's played amazing some weeks, and Stephon Diggs has run riot. Played the Giants last night. The Giants were absolutely awful. Only got 9 points. I got the dub. So that was wonderful. But I think kind of more to the point, just to try and bring it back round. We say saying all this stuff about this young 3rd round pick who, jury's still out on for me. I know it's not necessarily out for many other people, but there's a lot of high-paid quarterbacks out there that are doing zip diddly for their, 300, 400, 5 million, 500 million dollar contracts. So
absolutely fair enough. Here we go. Oh yeah, I did see that one actually. That's a good little one to bring up. Thank you, Alan. I read the article earlier. That'd be juicy.
And this is amazing. I just want to kind of put this out there because I obviously play for a Brit Ball team. Obviously I play for a full contact team, but the fact that flag football is going to be in the Olympics, it's going to do. I mean, and there are flag football teams in the UK. So if you're interested in joining anything like that, do get on Facebook, do get online and look where your closest team is, because it is literally the best thing I've ever done. But I think it's another great step into bringing the sport into more of a global market and an ever growing, global market, which, it's obviously getting bigger and bigger in the UK, but everywhere else as well. So, brilliant.
That way, it's a Mark Q&A now.
I'm an offensive tackle, and I'm better than Caleb McGarry.
Big bucks now. Lots of big bucks. I love that. Sorry, I know we don't need to drag it on too much. Just another little one I thought about that we've completely not even said a single word about. Matt Ryan was in the broadcast box for the game. That was bonkers. It felt really surreal, and I'm sure he was like, I could be down there right now. We could be doing this right now. But leave that argument for the socials.
I mean,
he could have.
Indianapolis last year said he can't, but no. And again, O-line. You gonna put him back behind that again? Please no.
Oh God, no. Oh, somebody actually tweeted that, saying this is the first time Matt's left the stadium in X amount of years without leaving on crutches, and I was like,
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on and chatting.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's a free agent.
I think we can leave it there, can't we?
There is a reason why he's a free agent.
Yeah,
there is. That's me.
Can we leave it there for tonight, boys?
That is me wrapped up.
Yeah.
We have taken up more than enough of everyone's time.
An hour 20.
I know, right? We got too drawn into the Ridder thing. I think we had 40 minutes of Ridder. As always, thank you.
More than we got on Sunday.
Yeah.
There you go. There's always one. Okay. Right, let's sign off.
I'm not gonna lie, I really did.
Right.
I thought it too, but I just didn't want to say
I can't resist what it is.
God's sake. Right, everyone. Thank you for watching live. Nice. Thank you, everyone, for watching live, and thank you for all your comments. They have been going off again tonight.
Great.
Paul, Matt, as always, Nick, thank you all. There is a ton more, but you lot have been churning them out for us.
He was talking.
Exactly. Keeps us going. Means you have to look at this for half an hour longer, which is unfortunate. If you don't already, like, subscribe, follow us, tell a friend to tell a friend. As always, this show will be up in full on YouTube as soon as we log off. And then on Spotify in a day or so, and all your other streaming platforms.
Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we will wrap it up and catch you all next Monday, hopefully with another Victory Monday. See you all later.
Another.
See you all later.